Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director, Tate Mathews. We're back. It's time for 2024-25. I know we're excited.
Very excited. Weather's cooling down a little bit, not too much, just a little bit, but enough. It's in the air, man. It's game week. Pick'ems. Holy cow. You're the defending, this is the first time this has ever happened. You're the defending Pick'ems champion. There's a lot of storylines leading into the 2024-2025 season. So I'm excited. Glad to be back.
And we have a lot of sports going on.
A lot of sports.
Some that have already gotten started. We'll hit on some of those as we progress. Again, plenty of time this fall. Sports Connection. Again, back in the studio. I know we're glad to be here. I'm glad to be here. I know you're glad to be here. I do want to give a shout out, though, to not really intern, but the youngest guy always gets called intern. Intern Will, for being a part of the football media day. Did something a little different this year. We went on a Saturday. That was July 27th, once again at Mojo's Tacos. And Tate, I appreciated you being there. High School Sports Saturday, your radio show, that was a big hit. You set up outside Mojo's the hour prior to it starting. A big hit.
It was fun. It was, one, we appreciate being invited, be a part of it. I have to give a shout out to Allen Kirby, who is the gentleman for 104.5 The Zone that goes out and sets up the remotes.
He's on point.
He's on point. He's always early, as in an hour and a half early. But Kirby, thank you. You know, Kirby always makes sure it's set up and runs well. And you joined us, and Coach Jamal Stewart joined us, and Coach Coleman's joined us. Tom Krager was there. I mean, what other high school media days is Krager getting there at 8 in the morning to talk Wilco Preview Day or Wilco Media Day? So it was a great event. And then, as always, what y'all did in there at Mojo Tacos was great. Love listening to the young people talk. They do such a great job. Not to steal your thunder, but 12 media members were there.
Double digits for sure.
Yeah, I think it was 12.
It was the most strong. I was worried about Saturday morning, and I give credit where credit's due. Coach Will Hester, I know Mama's watching. He said, the way the calendar fell, he's like, I think Saturday might be better. I was nervous about it, but great turnout, great place to do it. Believe we'll continue with that Saturday theme.
Wow. It's your call, but I thought it was great. What I thought was good was I was in and out and walking around, and a lot of people stuck around because, like what we had talked about, there's so many different places to eat, so many different things to do there now. I saw people that were early on in the day, and then they were out there with their family eating. So it's pretty cool. Got to see a lot of people. And you know, that's the other neat thing about here. Well, obviously, it's all highly competitive. But kind of going back to Dr. Qualls, back then he was Coach Qualls, one conference, one goal. I saw a lot of people from different schools, you know, hanging out together over there in that common area near the skylight, you know, talking it up, fellowshipping. Pretty cool.
It's part of what makes it fun. Now, at least during my time as athletic director, it's the first time we've done it on the weekend. I was trying to think back, the Heat Fest. That was out at Nolensville. Was that on a Saturday? Do you remember?
No, it was during the week. It was during the summer. And not only was it during the summer, it was literally like at 2 o'clock. It was the hottest. People were melting. And
on the new turf.
On the new turf, he had a stage set up. It was on the new turf, so it was probably 118 degrees, and there was no cloud coverage, nothing. It was great. Media members he was getting a little worried about them. He had the Orca coolers from that's Copy Solutions.
That's right. That's right.
He had the Orca coolers, man. Those things were at a premium, because there was no water out there outside of those.
I wasn't there, but I can.
But he learned.
I can visualize the panic.
Then, we like to, hey, we're back. Why not? So why not go off script and share? But the best was, so then the next year was the Centennial's Auditorium, Performance Arts Center, whatever that's called, was open. So the next year it was there. Wings and Rings was a big sponsor of WCS Sports Conference, right? And so they're doing the food. So that one was at night during the week. I think it was like on a Monday or Tuesday or whatever. And so Coach Ron Crawford comes in, and I just happened to be back there. And he goes in the back. Mark Cross, the owner, the proprietor of Wings and Rings, he says, "Coach, can I?" And you remember their whole thing was boneless chicken wings.
Right.
So he says, "Coach, can I interest you in a chicken wing?" And Crawford goes, "Got a bone in it?" And he goes, No, sir. It's a boneless chicken wing." He goes, "I got a bone in it. It's not a chicken wing. It's a chicken tender." The guy, it's great. He didn't eat it.
I like the chicken tenders.
I do too.
But I agree with him. It's
Ain't got a wing in it. Not a chicken wing. It's chicken tender.
Tate, let's do this. Before we talk about this year, let's take a look back, 2023. Region champions. We had 3 opportunities to have a region champion. We were 3 for 3.
Yep.
Fairview, Page, Brentwood. 8 of the 9 teams make the playoffs, and that's the maximum that can make it because in the 6A class, we're going to be one short each time. Page, runner-up in 5A for the 3rd consecutive year. Such an impressive run that they're on.
Yes.
6A, Brentwood, and the year before, I think the 2nd round, we were out in 6A. So we bounced back last year. Brentwood makes it all the way to the semis. They defeat Ravenwood in Battle of the Woods #2 last year in the quarters. They lose to eventual state champion Houston, which they had a great team, obviously. And then we had a couple of Mr. Football finalists, both in 5A. Eric Hazard, he's back at Page High School, and Dominic Reed.
Hell's up.
Centennial. That's right. Well, I love Eric, but I'm not going to do that.
I'll do it. L's up. I know you're not.
But I'm proud of him, and I'll be rooting for him.
Yes.
That's another story for another time.
And Dominic Reed, wings up.
I'll give you a couple of those.
Double. First show, and we already got a double wings up.
Coaching change. We had 1 coaching change this year. Franklin High School, Josh Adkins replacing Alex Melton. They were the 1 team that didn't make the playoffs, so that'll be a challenge for Coach Adkins in year 1. Can they get over the hump and be a playoff team? Now, let's do this, Tate. Let's just run right down the list with our teams, give it a little bit of a preview. We'll go in alpha order here, so we're going to jump around in classes. We'll start in 6A with Brentwood High School, 13-1 last year. Again, semifinals, losing to Houston. That team may be the most experienced Wilco team that I can remember. They had a ton of seniors. Well, it's a little bit of I wouldn't say the opposite, but not quite as experienced as last year. But they are Brentwood.
They are Brentwood, and what a great year they had, man. A lot of firsts. They beat Brentwood Academy for the first time. It's not like they play every year, but that's the first time they played. And that was a big deal. Started off the season with a great win against Blackman. Carried that over, and I really do think that second win, I think this team was going to be good anyways, real good. I think that just kind of gave them an extra motivation because they do play by a different set of rules, and they beat them, go 10-0, beat Ravenwood twice in the same season because they beat them again in the playoffs. And then I think Houston was the best team in the state. So I'm afraid if Brentwood hadn't met them in the state championship game, they would have been runner-up. But so what I'm saying is I think Brentwood was the second best team because I think they would have beat Oakland.
In a typical year, I think that Brentwood team wins it.
I do too.
Which is what you really were saying.
Well, yeah, I mean that Houston team.
They were unusually strong.
Yeah, but you're right. Lost a lot of people. They've had a lot of good trigger men at the quarterback position at Brentwood, but Baylor Hayes is up there at the top. He's one of them. So you lose him. I mean, he made a big difference in that team last year. You got lost receivers like Matthew Manning. You got Clayton Merrill back, and then on defense, Orafici. So they lost a lot of seniors, but they also they lost their leading tackler. They lost their quarterback. Manning missed some late games. But I think if he wasn't the leading receiver, he would have been had he played in all the games. So you got some big shoes to fill, but like you said, they are Brentwood. They are not a team. They're a program. They just kind of reload. It will look different this year, though.
I still think they finished top 2.
I do, too.
In the league. But we'll talk about it in a minute, but it's 2.
Okay.
But
You picked them 2 last year.
I'm going back to back on that pick.
But you're also the Pick'ems champ, so.
True, which we'll also
Yeah.
review here.
Clayton Merrill, another in the line of the Merrills. He's poised to have a really, really big season. Offensively, special teams, probably see him a little bit in defense, but he's going to be fun to watch.
Centennial, last year under first-year coach Jamal Stewart, they go 10-3. They make it all the way to the quarterfinals. They lose to eventual state runner-up Page. That matchup was 14-7 in the quarters. Kenai Johnson was out for the football media day, and I liked how he and Riley Turner, the QB1, they were like, now listen, we had some guys graduate. I know we lost Dominic Reed, and we love Dominic. And I know we lost Tanner Lee, and we love Tanner. And we lost DJ Curl and that group. And we love those guys. We're going to be better. They believe that. I'm going to tell you, Centennial, and they're not going to sneak up on anybody. I think most would say they're second or third in that region, but they're talking like, hey, don't count us out making it to the end.
Yeah, I heard him say it. I liked it too.
They liked their chemistry. They liked their chemistry.
They liked their chemistry. You know who else had no problem with him saying it?
Coach Stewart.
Coach Stewart.
He loved it.
He loved it.
It wasn't cocky either.
He was just being honest.
I liked it.
It was humble but confident.
Kind of called out the media
Yeah.
members. I don't even know if the media had even said anything at that point, but he's like, I know the media. I was like, oh, okay, can I?
Something tells me he's heard his coach say that.
That's true. And I'll tell you this, quarterback play was fine last year. The way they're talking with leadership, I think they'll get a little better play, even though it's first-year starter.
I agree. And it'll just look a little different. And Kenai, he was last year, and he's a big play guy. He's one of the more explosive guys in that league. Centennial's going to be athletic, and Coach Stewart's been to state championship games and won so many games at East Nashville, but still, this is different. Going all the way up to 6A, it's just different. The amount of kids you've got, the amount of coaches you got to have, the district schedule. Do you think there's a learning curve? I mean, you had been coaching for 20 plus years, and think about, was that Region 7 y'all were in up there at Beach?
5 at the time.
5. I mean, big games, but there is a little bit of a learning curve. 5 and 6
were the two that I was.
Yeah, I mean, great coaches, great games, great teams. But there is a little bit of a learning curve down here, and at least you were in the top classification. What I'm saying is, I think Coach Stewart was more prepared going into fall camp this year than he was last year, even though he's an experienced, very successful head coach.
Well, and I will say this, so forget the football part. It's just different here.
Right.
It's different in any school system. Any school system you go, it's going to be a learning curve. I feel like ours is particularly challenging with that academic piece. Not that, listen, other school systems are interested in academics. We're really interested.
Right.
So I think that's part
student athletes here.
No doubt. Let's drop to 3A. So our third team. So we've talked a little 6A, a little 5A, now 3A with Fairview. I think listen, they were 8-4. They make it to the second round. They lose to Liberty Creek. I think they overachieved last year. They had a really, really young team, and for them to make it to the second round, I thought was great. Expectations are a little different this year for Coach Hughes and his team. Trayvon Murray. That's a name we're going to be calling a lot this year, Tate Mathews.
Called it last year. You're going to call it even more this year. And I think the biggest thing with them being so young, also they're the smallest school in the county, right? When you're that young and you're that size, you don't have a lot of depth. You can't, right? And so obviously they're going to be deeper this year. Trayvon's legit. He's a guy that can carry the load. And no shame in that Liberty Creek second round loss. That's not your typical brand new school the way they did that thing, right? They were really good, a really good football team. So probably got the most, I know that's not the expectation at Fairview, but I think that second round exit I think Coach Hughes got the most out of that team last year. And so also with the depth last year, that led to they got banged up. There were injuries. So I think they'll be in a much better position for that this year. And you're right. I really like Trayvon. He's going to have a really big season.
And he was great at Media Day.
Great. So Sam Rood was great as well.
Like all these folks. Franklin High School, 2-8 last year. They missed out on the playoffs. They were the one school out of 9 that didn't make the playoffs. Again, first-year head coach Josh Adkins. He comes to us from Gallatin. He was an assistant coach there. Take a guy like Brewer Wilson, the quarterback. Seems like he's played like 12 years. He's finally said their best class is a senior class.
Yes.
They've played a lot of football the last few years, and they've played well. I know the record doesn't show it, but this was the year they were kind of gearing to. The question will be, is it enough in a very, very tough region?
Well, they had a tough 3 years. They finished off last season with 2 wins. So that was great.
Two-game winning streak.
2-game winning streak. They're entering the season in a 2-game winning streak. You're right. They've known this class was going to be the class. I think they've been building towards that, and they knew they were going to take some lumps, and they did. But yeah, man, Brewers he's a little bit different than some of the other ones, but he's as good. I would go to battle with him as my quarterback any day of the week. So, and then you've got a pair of great receivers in Lucas Young and Wills Jackson. It's funny, I was talking to Chad Watson. He's the head coach at Kirkwood Cobras, and he was talking about they scrimmaged them Friday night. How'd it go? And I said, well, man, if you didn't give up a deep ball with that crew, then secondary played well. He said, well, we gave up 1. They're going to get behind you now. So if they can find a way to get that line, that line gel and mesh together and get the running game going there, which I think they will. They've got as good as a pair of wide receivers and a quarterback as anybody in the region. So it's going to be fun to watch. Coach Adkins, I think he's brought in a lot of energy. Utmost respect for Coach Melton. I'm not saying there wasn't. I'm just saying this guy's a high energy guy. Normally when you hear the word special teams coordinator, that usually is associated with high energy. There's not very many meek, mild-mannered special teams guys. So, it's going to be fun to watch. The doctor of defense is back, so that's got to be comforting to have him over there. And then you got another Gaka, with Sean coming, who's going to be back, who had a nice season again. So the schedule is so tough. I don't know how I think all you can expect and want is to make sure we get better every game. But, I still don't know what that final record looks like because that schedule is not easy.
They could be 4-6 and really
heck
good.
Of it, yeah.
But we'll see.
It's going to be fun. Well, and how's this? I thought this was cool. The opener is Centennial at Franklin. His first game as a head coach, but also first game as a head coach at Franklin. Last year it was Coach Stewart's first game as a head coach at Centennial and the Battle of Franklin.
Hey, Coach Atkins, I know you're new. That's your first game. By the way, we have a coaches show during the week. You have to come tape. And during warm-ups, you've got to come over and talk to us at game day.
Yeah. Please, Coach Webb, about 5 years ago, broke the table. Please don't break the table. Bring your energy, just don't break the table. By the way.
Shout out to Coach Kreisky on that one, too. The buses are parked.
Yeah. Can't get in, screaming match. Boy, nothing like a rivalry like that in your first game. That's going to be fun.
That's a fun one. Battle of Franklin's fun. Yeah. I like it, and I know we've got a lot of them on the back end because TSSAA made the region schedule, but I love it when we start with one of these.
How did you?
Traditionally we had
Battle of 840
Page, but they don't play anymore, and that's a whole nother story.
The Battle of 840, and there's been a bunch of them, was the all-time greatest. Dr. Qualls Pick'em. When he put that, I don't even know how old that helmet is. When he put the blue helmet with the old Patriot man on it, and Heisman posed it.
Well, I wasn't there for that one. I've seen the video of it.
It was unreal.
Last year, Nolensville.
It was up there. Maybe 1A.
And definitely the picture of it. The video and the picture was perfect. He was standing on that railing. I thought he was going to fall and.
Yeah, he came close. If that was like with the NFL, they would have made him have like a safety harness hook.
Yes. Now listen, you've got a little wrestling in your family. He's.
Oh, he'd have been great.
He's Jimmy Hart.
He'd have been a manager though. Yeah.
Of course.
No, he'd end up taking
throwing
over.
A cheap shot every once in a while and then running.
Yeah, he'd have been like Vince McMahon. He'd end up taking the thing over.
It's great. Independence, jump to Indy. Now, Coach Stidham and his crew, talking about a schedule, check their schedule out. Starting with Oakland, who it's not the same Oakland, but still it's Oakland. I don't know if this is good or bad news. The strength of their team may be the punter and kicker.
Oh, it is the strength of their team.
And that doesn't mean they're not a good team, but usually when you start with that, you're like, but you look at Mr. Bingham, Andrew Bingham, commitment to Air Force, that's pretty fun. So he's excited about that team. And listen, in all seriousness, when you can make a field goal from a little further out than you like, can we try it? Yes, we can try it and we can make it. And we can pin you with a punt and give our defense sort of an advantage.
Exactly
That's
right.
important.
It's big time important.
Flipping the field.
Flipping the field, ball control, clock control. Here's the other thing. It's hard to return the kickoff if the thing goes in the end zone because you can't return it. So there's so many things about it. And with the offense that they're running under Coach Stidham, and he's an option guy, which is tough to defend. It makes you play disciplined football on the other side. But the great thing about that is when you have a kicker and a punter like that, it also can help him the way he calls the ball game, right? So it is the strength of their team because I don't think you can find anywhere in the state, maybe the Southeast, a kicker-punter combination as good as Bingham and Majewski. So, yeah, it's huge. And, Scott Stidham was in West Tennessee, so you don't know the name as much here if you're a mid-state football fan. But the coaches do. The guy can flat coach some ball. He's won a ton of ball games. Hey, South Gibson, when they started that school, and even when he left, that's not an easy place to win football games, and they won a ton. I'm excited to see another year under him and watch this program as it takes on his identity. But look for them to be able to move the ball against Oakland.
I feel like
got another Blaze Katina at linebacker. They got another Katina. He's the 27th. No, I'm kidding, but. The Katina family's been good to the Independence Eagles.
And circle that contest with Franklin. To me, that's going to be
it's big.
Who's going to make the playoffs? We'll get into that in just a second. Nolensville, 8-3 last year. Disappointing end of the season. Again, Coach Derrick never made excuses, but I brought this up at Media Day when I introduced Coach Derrick and his team. Injuries. It was a killer for them.
Killer.
They win a few games in the playoffs. That doesn't happen. They just were very short-handed in the playoffs. And when you look back, they're 8-3. It just shows you in athletics that postseason's what people remember. You almost don't remember what a great regular season they had, and played some great games. That matchup they had with Page during the regular season, unreal. And that's a little rivalry that's getting going a little bit. So I think we forget that a little bit because of the playoff exit against Tullahoma. Landon Smotherman, he's back.
Yes,
Tate.
He is back.
A stat stuffer.
He's a stat stuffer, and they've got some. It's going to look a little different, right? They're going to kind of have to do a running back by committee. Our man Zion Tamaska, no longer.
Great career.
What a great career.
Followed up, replaced Mr. Touchdown.
They went from Samson to Zion, and now it'll be a little bit more of a running back by committee. I think you'll see Josh Hicks, who started at cornerback. I think you'll see him get, we're not going to get meaningless carries with him, but I think you're going to see him when it matters at tailback, but they'll do kind of a running back by committee. Jack Dever takes over at quarterback. What a long run of nice quarterbacks we've had in Nolensville. So he's filling in or taking over for some really good quarterbacks. But all the wide receivers are back. So there's weapons on the field. We just got to get our quarterback comfortable and ready to go and make sure the offensive line, the top to bottom, obviously not. But as good as 6A is, last year, you take Page, Nolensville, and Centennial, I think
solid.
Well, Page definitely if you put those three in 6A, Page is making the playoffs. I think Centennial is too. So that's how tough that 5A, that 6-5A region is.
Well, what's interesting about that region, most would say it's Page, Centennial, Nolensville. Centennial's going, hey, wait. And Nolensville's saying, hey, wait.
That's right.
I think everybody, now Page is going, yeah, we think that's right.
3 in a row.
We think that's correct. All right, let's talk about Page. 13-2 last year, again, state runner-up, losing to Knoxville West, Ains, Hazard, Weebush. And I'll tell you this about their squad.
Hey.
They look like a 6A team.
Rathbone.
Yeah. Oh yeah, little Rathbone,
Jake.
little big Rathbone.
Yeah, man.
Now they're an impressive looking group, and I'll say this about them: it seems like these things go in waves. They had some bad luck with injuries last year.
They did.
If they can stay away from some of that, really look out.
They had bad luck with injuries that started before the season even started, and man, I forgot until I started looking at it. You know, they went to 3 overtimes with Giles County to get a win. That won't happen this year, and then 3 more overtimes against Independence
right.
and fell, and they were up. You know, so anyways, they had played. They had played what? They played 14 quarters after 2 games.
But
week 1 and week 2.
I think it helped them though.
It did help them, but
Because of those guys that had to play, they got more reps.
they did, without a doubt.
In the short term, I don't think it helped them.
Correct.
But in the long term, I think it paid off.
I don't think either one of those happens this year, but yeah, it's going to be. They're going to look a little different. Mitchell Grandjean, he moved in. He's a transfer. He will be. I think at least early on, it'll be a two quarterback system. Mitchell Grandjean, you'll see him, and then you're going to see a lot of Weebush at quarterback. Now, it's not going to look like, when Zachy Mizell was back there playing quarterback, but he can throw it well enough, and they can also get an extra blocker in there and run the ball with him. It's going to be physical football, man.
Now, listen, I saw Coach Randy Hatley out at Page. I was out there. We love Coach Hatley.
Yep.
Assistant principal out there. He just wanted me to let you know that if we have a game day out at Page, he wants you to mention the guy got you.
They got him what?
The guy you always mention said you can always kind of slip in the old
Zach Mizell,
That's right.
man.
That's what I'm saying. So we've already got him in once.
Dang right. I hope you're watching, Coach Hatley.
We just got to make sure at game day. He always likes when it's always part of the conversation.
There might even be a jersey if I can fit in it. He had shoulder pads on, so maybe. But this one will look a little bit different. And the thing I think people keep missing on this, I don't think Ethan Cunningham got enough credit because there's so many stars on that football team, and that defense was so good. And I think on the playoffs, he put it into overdrive. Same kind of deal. Colt Brown, Isaac Ote, Odie. And then Sean Cunningham, little Cunningham, it'll kind of be a running back by committee there too. But make no mistake about it. What did you say they beat Centennial by?
14-7.
14-7. Nobody holds Centennial to 7 points except Page. Strength of this team is the defense. Think about that, man. At Media Day, all the Media Days we've had, they brought Brennan Ains, Wisconsin commit, and Eric Hazard, who, by the way, has gotten bigger. Don't you think?
Yes.
He busted it in the weight room this offseason. Not that everybody didn't. He's gotten bigger. And Eric Hazard, who's a Louisville commit. I don't remember that. Even like when Van Jefferson was at Ray, I don't remember two. That's two legit. That's 2 Power 5 commits.
They look like a 6A team.
They look like a 6A team.
The depth may be different, but they look like a 6A team.
Craig Ackerman, special teams quarterback for the Titans. He's sitting out a year. He's on the staff now. Scott Wells is on the staff now. A lot of good things going on at Page this year.
Those guys, you ever know? Well, I'm not going to knock those guys, but it seems like when they decide to step up and help, oh yeah, I'll help you guys.
Yes, but the Ackerman thing is legit.
I'm not dogging that. I'm just saying.
I'm with you.
Sure.
It's kind of like Dougie Fresh.
Yeah.
What a year to decide you want to come out of retirement, old boy.
For 1 year.
1 year.
I'm one and done.
Had 2 Division I cornerbacks. And then you know what he did? He retired.
He did. He's like, I'm going to put my stamp on this thing, then I'm out. All right, let's talk a little Ravenwood. A little birdie, actually it's a big birdie, told me this could be maybe the best Ravenwood team in the Will Hester era. He's had a couple of different tenures. Not necessarily athletically, person for person, but team. And you could, now they've got a bunch of good guys, like 12 college prospects on that team, if not more, and some big timers. But I think the chemistry of it too, you add that to the individual parts, and it's going to be a special special year for Ravenwood, barring injuries.
They look, yes, I agree. They look to have all the pieces. They need to, or this is the first game week, so maybe they already have it. But if they had about one question on the offensive line, maybe maybe one thing on defense they needed to shore up. But when Coach Daniels was there and Jake Brenningstool and Junior Colson and them were there, those were pretty athletic teams. But I'm with you. You look at this team; they're super talented. He really likes how tight they are. Well, I think the thing that just goes to show you that chemistry that he was talking about is what's going on at quarterback. Maverick Chance deserves to be QB1. Femi Babaloa deserves to be QB1, right? But they're both going to play. They're QB1s. And I went and saw them scrimmage earlier in the year or earlier in the summer, and I get it. They're both really, really good, and they both do things differently. Mav is a kind of Tebow-esque. When he's in the game, he's going to run it. He can throw
He's
it too.
fearless.
He's not sliding.
He is fearless.
Femi's taller, longer, smoother, So, but you can tell. And then what I saw was Maverick would make a good, lead him on a touchdown drive or make a good play or whatever when he came over. Guess who was congratulating him? Femi. Femi goes out there, makes a good pass, leads him on a good drive. Maverick's, congratulating him. So that's very, very cool. I think that says a lot about it. And then when you have Ben Hubbard, there were times when they were running doubles, and on this side you had Donovan Starr split outside, or maybe it was vice versa. Anyways, you had Donovan Starr and Ben Hubbard on the same side, and the quarterback got pressured, but Donovan got behind the cornerback. Like, you're not going to find a pair of wide receivers that fast. I'm feeling anywhere in the state.
I'm feeling a Christian Taylor. I'm feeling a catch me if you can.
Catch me if you can. I love it.
Promo.
If you lost, follow the leader. And by the way, don't kick. If you're going to kick off deep to them, make sure you make it to the end zone.
Smyrna. I think they've continually made that mistake.
They did. Here's what would be really cool. So, Coach Rector, runner-up, state champion, not in that order, but Hester, runner-up, state champion in that order. Coach Daniels took him to the state championship game, got a runner-up. Now, if Coach Hester can get him back there, that'd be really cool. So,
I think they're going back.
We got game day to do Friday night, but if we didn't, I would be heading down 40 East, and I'd be going to the Ravenwood at Alcoa game.
Now that one's
for sure.
I'll be interested to see your pick. Which, by the way, it's going to be your pick. I think.
Okay, good. They've won 9 in a row? Yeah, 9 in a row. 9 state championships.
I think I know what you're going to do.
Okay. Then why'd you give me the first pick?
We'll see. Summit. Now, I will say this. I can tell how Coach Coleman's talking, too. So they have that great run that, they get the state championship. We lose to Wades. We lose all that talent. Then it kind of comes back. They come back to the pack a little bit. They're young. They're not quite as athletic. This is the year they were building back to. He likes this squad. He really, and he's going to make a little change offensively, it looks like.
Yep, you're right. Coach Kerry Collins has come over from Franklin, and he's the offense coordinator. And Coach Coleman's been calling the offense ever since he got there. So I think I don't think you can put a price tag on that because you are running a 6A program. Kirk Taylor's his defense coordinator, who I absolutely trust. And now you got
who does a great job, by the way.
Does a fantastic job. And and then you got Coach Collins over there. It allows Coach Coleman to go do other things, be involved in other positions, be around more. It's, there's people that do it and people that do it well.
Right.
But still, man, when you're coordinating a side of the ball, there's X amount of time that has to go to that. And Coach Coleman's in high energy guys, we know. So him being able to go be around other positions during the day, I think is awesome. You can tell, and I think you saw it at Media Day, he really likes this team. He enjoys coaching this team. He loves his quarterback, Mason McElhaney. That's what's going to be interesting with Coach Collins calling it. I think it was against Franklin last year. He, from the quarterback position, he carried it 34 times for 200 and something yards. So, and that's the way he likes to play. So we'll see what this blend looks like. But he's back another year. Is Mason going to lead the mid-state in passing? No. Is he a guy that can lead you to victories on Friday nights? Yes.
Well, we know he can pull it down and run with it too.
Dang right he
That's what he's been doing, like you said. All right, let's do this. This will be kind of a rapid fire.
This is fun.
For you, Tate.
Yeah, okay.
We'll put you on the spot here. 3A, we'll go just by class. Fairview exceeded expectations. We talked about the young team. Did they take a next step and go quarterfinals and beyond this year, Tate?
Yes. Quarterfinals, I think, and then I'm not quite sure where it hits there. So
I think it's tough.
yeah, but just want to know who that is, and let's see how it is. But so the answer is yes. If deep is the quarterfinals, yes, and then we'll revisit it later.
Well, they went on a little run. That's kind of, but then the past few years, it's been a little earlier exit. Again, I thought second round last year was actually overachieving for that team.
I agree.
5A is fourth time the charm for Page High School. Do they get back?
That's really hard to do. Don't you agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, very difficult.
And I've heard Southwind's got all these transfers and all that. So
You've been listening to Tommy.
and then
You've been listening to Tommy.
no, yeah. Well, no, I haven't been listening. I've heard him say it. I'm not saying I agree with it. I think this defense is that good that yes, because they're going to have to figure this offensive thing out. Again, man, you lost your quarterback. You lost who I think is one of the best tailbacks you got there. But you got a really good offensive line. Oh, yeah, by the way, they're so loaded. We didn't even talk about that. You lost an offensive lineman who's at Clemson right now. Yeah, I think it's the fourth time because I think that's how good that defense is.
And you know what I've said. Circle it, semifinal, at Beach, winner wins it. Winner of that game. Now,
That'll be a physical football game.
That being said, how to Nolensville Centennial, how's that pan out? You got Nolensville 2 or Centennial 2?
Are we answering that now?
Yeah, we can change that, but yeah, we're not. It's not one of our picks, but
I'll go Centennial.
yeah, I like Centennial as too as well. 6A, does Ravenwood make the state championship and win it? I mean, or is it someone else? We agree that Ravenwood's kind of the cream of the 6A teams.
I think they're up there for sure. I think it's them.
So you got Ravenwood 1. Who's 2?
In 6A?
Yeah, in our league.
Oh, in our league?
Yeah. So you got Ravenwood 1.
Oh, Brentwood.
Brentwood 2, I agree. 3.
It's whoever wins the Summit Indy game. I'm going to go Summit.
I agree. I think it's Summit. 4, 5, you think it's Indy over Franklin.
Yes.
And then Overton being 6. So back to my original question.
Hey, this league is so tough. Coach Broom, who will play anybody, told me, why would I leave Overton, man? I got the best schedule. I got the best job I've ever had all my years doing it. He's at Antioch now. He's like, man, I got tired of getting – that's how tough. Poor Overton.
Yeah, they're not beating anybody.
No.
They're not beating one of us. So does Ravenwood make it to the end?
Yes.
And do they win it?
Yes. But it's tougher than people think.
You think we got 2 titles coming?
I do.
I do too.
It's happened before.
I really do too, which would be something. All right, by the way, I wanted to throw in a gem since we're talking about Ravenwood. Coach Hester and Mama Hester won't love this one.
Huh?
This week's gem. Coach Hester, 0 losses in the Battle of the Woods. 2 last year.
That could end up
Regular season
and playoff.
and postseason.
That could end up in the locker room. Don't think it didn't bother him. You know, he was a Brentwood Bruin in high school.
He was.
So that is a good gem.
It's a bad gem.
He's not losing 2 this year.
He's winning 2. If they play twice, he's going to get 2 back.
All right.
But again, don't count Brent. One thing I have learned in athletics, forget this, whatever sport, don't count Brentwood out.
Nope.
Top story to watch in 24, Tate, when it comes to football.
Well, I would have said Page winning the state championship, finally getting the state championship in their 4th try after 3 in a row, but we already talked about that. So I would say the top story to watch in 2024 is back to Ravenwood. Not only do I think they can win the state championship, I think they can and will beat Alcoa, which this goes to the pick'em since you told me I've got the first pick.
Oh.
I think they beat Alcoa and Oakland in the same year.
Wow.
Go back and look at those scores of those 2 games last year.
That's
how
a heck
much.
of a year.
Dang right it is.
It's a heck of a year. Biggest surprise team. When you look at a team that maybe, and it doesn't mean they're, maybe a team that people said was going to be good, but you think they're going to do even a little better.
I think Independence. Because
Okay.
I'm picking Independence 4, but I would not be surprised if they're not 3, maybe even 2. I think they're going to. I think
Wow.
they're going to be much improved, and what they do. Nobody likes to see that. It's, if they can stay healthy, I think Independence is the surprise team of 2024.
That one caught me off guard. Coach Stidham hopes you're right. Tate, game day this week, Battle of Franklin. Can't wait. I know Dr. Qualls will have something in store.
It's going to be great.
Looking forward to that. And listen, this is the last time it'll be mentioned. This is it.
No, it should be.
But we have to go back just before we have our pick'ems, which is a tradition.
I
here.
mean, it was not only that was dang near Popcorn City.
I forgot that you didn't finish second. 4th place with 69 wins last year was Dr. Qualls. You beat him by 1.
This is so bad.
You had 70 wins. The fans beat you.
I know.
71, and then just lucky. 74 wins. Defending champion. Look, where do I go from here? I hope I'm motivated this year, because it was my goal to.
I've never known you not for competition, not to get your juices flowing.
Well, let's remind our fans, Tate, that each week they need to go to WCS Athletics on X. And
I refuse to call it X.
And you guys, well, I don't really like to call. I just like doing that.
I know.
Make sure you guys participate again this year.
It's
All
fun.
right, here we go.
Okay.
You're going to pick first. Brentwood hosting Blackman. Who you have in that matchup, Tate?
Man, this is tough because we don't really know what the quarterback situation is in Brentwood. I don't think they know. I think they're going to play 2 of them going into it. Coach Kreisky's another year there. They're pretty athletic, but I'm with you, man. I think Brentwood's so well coached. Their kids play so hard, and there is a lot of athletic ability there. I think Brentwood gets the win for the 2nd year in a row against the Blaze.
I agree. The Brentwood. They'll come up with a W.
Yep.
Here's one that I'll pick this one first. I can assure you it won't turn out like last year.
That was probably the stunt. That was the surprise.
It was a stunt, and they still went 8-4. So they recovered. Fairview lost to East Hickman. I think Dr. Qualls had his driveway blocked there at his house. They ripped down goalposts and did all kinds of things for that win. Not this year. Fairview in a blowout over East Hickman.
I'm with you. When that was one of those ones, I thought they entered the score wrong. Like like you'd be watching Touchdown Friday or see it on Twitter and go, no, they got that wrong. That's one of those. This one's Fairview. Fairview probably takes this one personally, and I don't blame them. This is not close.
Not close.
No.
All right, your pick, Tate. Independence hosting Oakland. Now, you said look for it to be close. Do you think it?
No. I think Independence is the surprise team of the year. I'd follow Coach Stidham anywhere, but I think Oakland gets this win.
Unfortunately, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go Oakland, but I think it's a 4th quarter game.
I hope.
I do. I really do. Nowensville at Rockvale, my pick. Nowensville is going to prove that they're Nowensville. They'll take care of business in convincing fashion.
Convincing fashion. That's big. Well, Rockvale was feeling pretty good about themselves. They got a new turf, the launch pad. They got a new starting center by the name of Not So Little A. Krager. They were feeling pretty good about themselves till they came over last week and did a jamboree with the Ravenwood Raptors. Let's just say there wasn't a whole lot of talking on the bus on the way back to Rutherford, to R County. They got a really good athlete in Jalen Morgan, Georgia commit. I don't think Nolensville should beat them, but I think they will beat them because I think Coach Derrick and the staff and the boys will find a way to get it done. I'm going with the Knights. But it's close.
Right now, we're the same so far.
We're the same.
Here's a good one. My TV 30 game. Page hosting Giles County. You mentioned last year it went to multiple overtimes. This game's at Page. Your pick.
The boys and girls did not do their homework over at FNL, My TV 30. They saw that this one went to 3 overtime. Oh, this will be a good one again this year. Not so fast, my friend. And I'm a big fan of Coach O'Connor at Giles County. This one, I'm not going to say running clock because he's too good of a coach. This is 21 or more, Paige. This is not the game they think they're getting.
I agree. Here's what I'd say to I don't know who the broadcasters are. Get your secondary content ready. And also pay attention to all the names on the roster because they're going to get in.
But, yes, get a full roster. Get an updated roster. It's Lucas Panzica. He'll do great.
Well, just tell Lucas. I know you talked to Lucas. Tell him to get his.
Lucas, make sure you know the freshman numbers.
Ravenwood.co. I was wrong. It's my pick on this one. We've already kind of given away what you're gonna do. I'm picking Ravenwood.
I think
they're gonna make.
You know me. I don't pick them just because.
No, they're gonna make the trip and they're gonna get the win.
It is going to be. I hope anybody associated with Ravenwood don't miss this one, man. Go. It's a cool place to watch a game. You gain an hour coming home because it's going to be an Eastern time zone kick. They're the 9-time. I don't care if it's 3A or not. They're the 9-time defending state champion, man. And I think Ravenwood. It's going to be physical, but I think they get them. It's going to be awesome.
I think the Tornadoes are going to be merely a strong wind.
A breeze.
So we both Ravenwood.
Yep.
I think we both agree on this one. Another blowout. Summit hosting Spring Hill. The Spartans roll, correct?
Coach Coleman will be on the Duck River on Saturday in his what do you call that? John boat race city.
And it would definitely be a John boat.
John boat. Well, hard to get anything bigger on the Duck. Maybe a float.
Final pick, WCTV Game of the Week, Battle of Franklin. It's my pick. I like what Coach Stewart's done. Coach Atkins hadn't done anything at this point. He's got to get used to what's going on at Franklin.
That's motivational.
I didn't mean that negative. I'm just saying, he hadn't got his system in. I always say this, when your biggest improvement is week 1 to 2, and I think it's an even bigger improvement when it's your first year with the team. So I think Franklin's biggest jump will be in week 2, just like the other teams, but Centennial, a year under the belt of Coach Stewart, I think Centennial wins. And I know everybody's talking about it being close. I think it's double digits.
Oh, the Cougars.
The Cougars.
I'm going Centennial. Remember, Franklin got after them early last year.
They did.
I know there's a lot of changes, but
it was Coach Stewart's first game.
Yep. I'm with you. I'm going Centennial, but I think Franklin's up at half. I know that no moral victories in that, but this is getting ready to get back to a really, really, really tough competition. But I'm going with the Cougars.
It'll be a great atmosphere. It really will. And I think it'll be a great game. I just think Centennial maybe pushes it out at the end.
I agree.
Tate, so we got the same pick, so we're going to be tied going into
something tells me
week 2. Dr. Qualls is going to pick something different.
He's not picking against Ravenwood.
No, because he never picks against them.
So you think he picks Independence?
No. No, he'll pick Oakland there. He'll do something will be. He won't pick East Hickman.
If there was one, you're not, but if there was one you had to change, what would you change?
Well, I'm not changing any.
I know. You feel 100% on all of them?
I don't feel 100%, but I feel pretty good. I think Brentwood Blackman's tough, but I think Brentwood wins.
Yeah, I think it's tough too. I think Nolensville, Rockville's tough.
You can change your pick if you want.
No.
Okay.
I'm good.
Tate, it's great to be back. Always appreciate you being here. Love hearing your insight. It's going to be an exciting football season, and we'll talk about our other fall sports next week too.
For those that don't know how excited you are for game day, you're wearing the game day jacket. You've never done that.
Well, I broke it out last year.
You did?
When I did the Monday Night Football, turn out the lights, the party's over. I was kind of rubbing in.
When I walked in and saw that, I said, my man's fired up for this week.
Ready to go. 2 state titles coming.
Let's go, baby.
I agree with you.
Go vote on X, Twitter.
Whichever one.
Whichever.
Thanks for joining us for Sports Connection. We'll see you next time.